Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is David Palmer, the Leo King, and welcome to Deep Astrology, your weekly astrology forecast for the week of July the 15th through the 21st of 2020. Thanks so much for being here on highvibe.tv. This is an exclusive, awesome weekly horoscope brought to you by highvibe.tv. Check out the links down below, especially our apps, but you can subscribe either on the apps or the website. Check out the website because you can also check out awesome free content, and of course you can get any paid videos on there and then watch it all on the app. But if you have the app too, all of our free content, spiritual dance music, to all the other free shows that we have are on there as well. But that is how to support this show that has been continuing in different forms for over 8 years to you all for free, to give it out to your friends and everything. Remember, on this show, I'm going to be channeling the horoscope to you, and then I'm going to be going deep into the charts, which you get to see the charts if you're on highvibe.tv, which are brought to you by Astro Gold, which you can get on iOS, Android, or any of your Mac devices, and then it's Solar Fire if you're on PC. So make sure that you subscribe to get this show in its full form. You'll get the audio form here on YouTube if you're on YouTube when we go to the charts. Well, here we are, everybody. It's the last week of Cancer. I don't know if you guys all watch Deep Love Tarot, and I was a crab that crawled over the couch, okay? So we are a little crabby right now, but I don't know if tomorrow is from High Vibe. It is her birthday. I just wanted to wish her a happy birthday. Love her so much. She's been with the whole High Vibe team when we were in other forms, Future Life, and she's been a big part of High Vibe and a huge part of High Vibe. Make sure that you check her out on highvibe.tv or follow her on all of her stuff. You can find her tagged in a bunch of stuff with me or on highvibe.tv or on High Vibe TV. You can find her pretty easy. Happy birthday tomorrow. But yeah, it's been a crabby kind of time, but you know what? This is an intense period of life, and I'm going to be going much deeper than I usually do. It is Deep Astrology, and I always go as deep as I can, and I found deeper for you all this week. Not only are we going to be going over the Geo charts today and the Helio, but we are also going to be going deep into the Mayan chart. And there's, of course, different Mayan charts, but I have to actually physically show you the Mayan charts that I'm going to be using. But there is a 10-day major portal that we are in right now, and I'm going to go deeper into the descriptions about that when I go into the charts. So make sure that you're a member of highvibe.tv to see them. You'll be able to hear me talk about it today if you're on YouTube, but if you're on High Vibe, you'll actually be able to see it all because I'm going to be going 3D. And I might just throw in a little bit of the solar charts where you actually see it in 3D form. But this is the week where the sun, of course, has been in opposition to Jupiter and Pluto, and now it's getting ready for its second new moon cycle in Cancer. So we had that new moon solar eclipse in Cancer on the solstice. That was on June 20th. And here we are, another new moon in Cancer. I remember these times. I think it was 2009 we saw 2 new moons in Cancer. And of course, it's happening right before my birthday because it's Leo season next week. Not until, of course, the 23rd. But it is a time for us to face off with Saturn and Capricorn. And that's the big dog that's happening right now in all of astrology because, of course, Saturn is at home in Capricorn. It is retrograding, and it's been in quincunx to the North Node. And so this has been a very intense time for us emotionally of figuring out where is our long-term life going? What choices do need to be made? What things emotionally that are not easy to deal with have to be confronted? Because this is all about confrontation. And especially when you have Mars that's been on Chiron, it's bringing up a bunch of insecurities and weird things and the strength within you and the power within you to face these things. And sometimes it's like having to go into battle literally like Chiron does, wounded. Or going into battle feeling a little bit unsure of things. Remember, Mercury was retrograde in Cancer, and now it's out of its retrograde, but it's got to square off with Chiron still. It's getting ready for, squares off with Mars too. And so this is setting off a lot. There's so much going on in the astrology that it feels like this is a week to where if you tap in deep in yourself, it is more potent. And actually, in many ways, if you are truly in an awareness and spirituality and awakened, especially we had the sun just trine Neptune coming into this week, right? That this is a time in your life where you feel that you can actually allow the universe to change your life. That's what Jupiter and Pluto oppose the sun is. But remember, with Jupiter-Pluto, Jupiter is, of course, the benefic big planet. That's the Uncle Jupe, I like to call him, right? He's promising you everything, and does he show up? Yeah, he shows up at the last second. But the other part of Jupiter is our belief systems. It's our outlook of life. And when you have Pluto there, well, Pluto is going to, Pluto has no problem drilling down all the way to the bottom of whatever in life, getting to the bottom of issues. He makes Dick Tracy look like a really cheap detective. He makes, Carmen Sandiego look like an even worse one. He's the real deal. And Pluto with Jupiter makes you have to face and to look deeper, sometimes, of course, on the darker shades. We learn through life through looking at the shadow of ourselves, the shadow of our beliefs, the shadow of culture, Jupiter. But we have to remember that with the Sun in Cancer, this is a time for us to understand that we are emotional beings. And we have to find ways to understand that we have a personal life. And with the North Node in Gemini and with Venus still in shadow, she is bright though. If you go up at about 5 in the morning, oh my gosh. Not only are you going to see that beautiful Venus, you're going to see Mars at the top, you're going to see Mars there, and then you're going to see Jupiter and Saturn that are setting in the west at about 5 in the morning. So you can see these beautiful planets right now if you get up at that time. It's gorgeous. And actually, it's one of the best times of literally the day, just because of the fact that you're going to see better positions with all this stuff. But this is a moment for us that we have to really actually ask our own emotional, personal selves, what is it that we want in our lives? What changes are we ready to make? Because there's been so much blockage emotionally, especially since November of 2018, all the way until May 5th of 2020. And I think that what really has stemmed that, of course, was the nodal axis that was in Cancer and Capricorn. And we had that South Node in Saturn in around this time last year, which is ironic, as Saturn was retrograding and the South Node was retrograding or going in the same direction, that they were in a really hard spot. And so we are trying to bring life back to our physical, emotional, personal lives. And that's not easy because there's so many things the mind is trying to figure out in the environment. So there's a lot of switching things up and being like a really crazy, I don't know if you've ever been on my iPhone, but I think I have 342 text messages I haven't got back to yet. No joke. And so, it kind of feels like, do I have to emotionally get back to everything? Do I have to emotionally look at everything? Because South Node, remember, is in Sag, and guess what is going to be aspected by this new moon in Cancer that's coming? This new moon in Cancer is at 28 degrees. It's going to exactly quincunx that South Node. It's going to exactly oppose Saturn at 28 degrees retrograde. And so Saturn and the new moon that are in opposition are aspecting the nodes. So you want to talk about karmic shifts here? You want to talk about super karma? And then that's why I'm talking about in the Mayan 13 moon calendar system, like we are talking about a literal 10-day portal shift. And I mean, it is massive restructuring, not only of the DNA spiritually of your soul, but it is a restructuring moment in our lives. You want to add to the Mayan aspect as well that this is the last full week, because on July 26th, we move out of the white wizard and we move into the blue storm year, okay? So we're moving into, even in the Mayan system, into a new year next week, and this is the last new moon of the white wizard of timelessness, and we are going into purification, okay? We are going into things that need to crumble and things that are going to be purified. But this has been a time of weirdness, and if you want to be honest, look at your life. It has been weird the last year. Just take from this moment and take it to now. Your personal life, your long-term goals, all has gone in a weird, timeless direction that you don't even know how you even got into the place right now. There's only certain things in life that keep you somewhat in position, which is what Saturn is reminding you, the things that are the most important to you in your life for your long-term goals. And for some people, and I would say actually a lot of people, right, there's a lot of questions about career and long-term aspects of what you're doing with your life, right? Because of the fact that with the circumstances of this world of Jupiter and Pluto, and of course Saturn and Pluto that happened on January 12th of 2020, the whole entire world is going through a complete reconstruction, and it is looking also terrifying. But I think that we have to remember that Cancer, the sun, where it's at and where Mercury's at, is the crab. And there's a shell over the crab, okay? It's not like crabs don't have shells, like they have a protective energy to them. And you are protected. And this is a time to face your biggest fears. Of course, Jupiter and Pluto add big fears. They add the big shadow, but they also add the big desires, the big wants, the big needs. And in many ways, in order for us to get that feeling back into our lives, that personal life feeling that encompasses and brings us to a place that we feel secure in ourselves, we have to be big boys and big girls, right? Saturn's saying, in order for you to get this next, and especially this is a lunar cycle of a new moon, that means it's going to last for a month. You got to grow up in this next month and make big choices in a karmic time that is super karmic, because the fact that we are having a new moon, and a moon that is a new moon twice in Cancer, one being a solar eclipse on a solstice, that's already ironic and rare enough. You want to add to the craziness that there's a comet that exactly came into our view exactly on that solar eclipse, and that you're going to be able to see over these next couple days? There's a lot of crazy stuff that is going on right now. This is not normal. You do not see a comet. You do not see two new moons with one being a solar eclipse in the same sign. You do not see an exact new moon oppose Saturn in its home sign of Capricorn every day. No, you don't. You don't see a 10-day galactic activation Mayan portal to the end of the Mayan year in their 13-moon calendar system, and it goes longer than that. I'm going to show you all because it's so much to show you today. You don't see this, and you know what's even more ironic is if you look at a Helio perspective, if you look from the sun's point of view of the astrology, the fact that this new moon is happening in opposition to Saturn means that Earth and Saturn are right on top of each other from the sun's point of view. And then at the same time, when I'm going to show you all today, that Mars and Venus will be exactly conjunct from the sun's point of view in Aquarius at 27 degrees. This is like, what is going on? This is going to be the week, because we ended the eclipse cycle by just coming into this new moon. Because when you start a new moon cycle, you have to remember that the last new moon was a solar eclipse. So no matter how much we want to say, okay, we had a lunar eclipse 2 weeks ago in Capricorn, and that one was crazy already enough, just for the sheer fact that it was in square to Chiron, and there was that Mercury that was in retrograde, and there were so many weird things about that last lunar eclipse, and it was with Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn in Capricorn, and the moon's not happy there. But the fact that this new moon is coming in, and usually it's like, yes, the new moon after eclipse season, woo! We're out of eclipse season, we can move forward. Oh, it's coming with an opposition to Saturn? Exactly? So there's that whole, we could get crabby about things, because really it's just about confrontation. To grow up, to take action, especially with Mars and Aries. At least Mars is through Chiron. So Mars just yelled at Chiron like, hey, let's go. We're going, but at the same time, Mars knows. Because what's coming up here into August, into September, before the retrograde in September, is Mars has to go face off with Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn. So Mars is like, I'm this big superhero. It's like Batman. Like, I got to go face off the Joker. I got to go face off Two-Face. And I got to go face off, Bane. He's my favorite, like, he's got to go face Bane. So, and I would call Bane all three at once, if you know the whole Batman series. You should go watch the Dark Knight series. That'll help you out. Actually, with how life is, you're having to be Batman. Bruce Wayne right now is the personal life, Cancer, but Batman is the Capricorn of your life. So let's just take that as an example for a second. That if you are Batman, okay, you got to go deal with, how do you balance out also being Bruce Wayne? If you ever watched any of the movies, Bruce Wayne has a hard time, right? He's like, Alfred's always like, hey, dude, maybe you should go have some fun in your life and have a good life, because, man, you're all beat up, and I had to go get, Morgan Freeman to go inject you with something to keep you alive, and you don't go out. And then he goes out and he takes out his really hot car and he brings a couple girls and throws them in the pool at the restaurant. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of like, whoa, this is just like extremes, right? And how do you be Batman or Catwoman and still be a human? It's difficult, but it is a point in our lives where this Mars in Aries is our saving grace, but it is ironic that it has to go face off all the big bad guys at once. So the warrior in us, the strength within us knows ahead of time. And if you even just have somewhat of an open channel, an open soul, an open consciousness, I'm trying to be a better Leo King out there, okay? I was about to say you'd be an idiot if you didn't know that some crazy shit's about to go down here in this next, 2 months. Like, you know. Sorry that I just couldn't help myself, you know what I mean? Like, can't help myself, it's gonna go crazy, and you all know that shit. But I'm just trying to tell you all that, like, hello, this is your wake-up call. This is the wake-up call week. There's a freaking comet. There's a freaking 10-day activation. There's a freaking new moon opposed Saturn, and it's the second new moon in the same sign of Cancer, so you got to go figure out Bruce Wayne life. And then you got to also, at the same time, realize, can Bruce Wayne be Batman or not? And if you're not willing to do that, and you're willing to hang up and say, I quit, then you're just Robin. And Robin, I'm sorry to say, is not who we all want to be. We don't want to be that person. We don't want to be that quitter in life. We don't want to think also and put all this negative energy in our life towards quitting. Because if we quit on ourselves, even though there's going to be things, especially with Venus still in shadow, about relationships and money and projects, we are going to have to learn to let go of situations that don't work and not sink our own damn ship. Or not put up that Batman uniform and quit. Just because maybe Robin's having a bad day, or Robin wants all the attention, or Robin betrays you, or whatever. You have to still maintain that you are Bruce Wayne and still have that personal life too. And at the same time, you have to realize that you have to still be Batman that has got to go face off a world that looks crazy. But the more that you realize that the craziness is literally crazy, because if you actually look at all the characters of any superhero situation, because this is superhero times, I'm not going to be like, why? Especially, you know, the whole term of battle of the gods was the battle of the planets and their oppositions or their squares, right? And we are in a massive, if you just take whole zodiac signs, you got Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn, and Capricorn, you got the Sun and Mercury in Cancer, and you got Chiron and Mars in Aries. That is a massive T-square that we got going on this week. That is pressure. And it's pressure, and the only area that it's not actually got planets there, although I think Juno is still in Libra, is Libra. So this deals with relationships, the relationship with yourself, and how does Batman and Bruce Wayne find the partnership that works, that understands both? How does Bruce Wayne and Batman find the balance of both being both? And how does one identify oneself when you walk into a room? Are you Batman or are you Bruce Wayne? You know what I mean? Am I the Leo King or am I David Palmer? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's my life every day. I'm like, you know, hi, Leo King. I'm like, hey, what's up? It's, you know, to my new nephew, I'm Uncle Davey. You know what I mean? Davy Crockett. So, like, we have to re-identify many things by things that don't work out and that don't make sense logically, because this south node with the quincunx to the new moon is telling us of a major let go of personal life situations in order to gain the personal life that we really want to have. So you got to be willing now to place your bets on new energy by also being willing to take the risk to let go of things that do not make sense into your reality, that do not logically make sense, that you're not even curious about anymore, that you're not even stimulated about anymore, that you're not even excited about anymore, and stop sitting in this south node Sag world about, I just believe it'll all be okay, it'll work out. I believe that eventually, you got to confront the shit, and you got to get real deep and actually understand, hey, where is this portal going to take me? So it's a lot. Thank God for the Leo season that's coming next week, in order for you to integrate into your heart and integrate into your happiness, into your life, before we go into Mars squaring all this stuff. And it's going to get nasty. Nasty. So, you know, this is a time where even though it seems nasty, you need to erase the perspective of the world's point of view for a moment and get back to your personal life. Batman needs to get back to the Batcave, and Batman has to take care of his, I guess in this case, his nice mansion, and make sure that everything's all good in all these aspects. Where's the relationship? Venus is going to be with the moon this week, with Venus being direct. So, you know, to me, especially after the eclipses. That's why I think it's so important that, this is a moment for us that, even though it's still in shadow, and with Venus that's been making really weird aspects to all this stuff in Capricorn, when you get into the Ceci quadrats and you start to realize that this is about big, major choices. And they're huge choices about the betterment of our life, our relationships, our direction in our life, our personal life, our career life, but really also how do I identify all of it at once and not sit like a lost little puppy looking for something to save us or somebody to just throw us something, because we have to have initiative. It's cardinal energy. It's Cancer, it's Capricorn, it's Aries. That the more you just sit and wait and hope for the best, nothing's showing up. And then that's what bridges to depression. That's what bridges to deeper or even wider shades of the melancholy aspects, especially when you're dealing with a sun and moon opposing Saturn, because remember, the moon is at its home and she has to go face off Saturn, and she doesn't like to face off Saturn in Capricorn because Kronos, that's where he eats children. Do you think that there's just an irony about the internet and all that stuff going around about the children right now and all that stuff with Saturn in its home, with Jupiter and Pluto there? I know that some people might think I'm crazy, and I'm only saying this because people have been asking me like crazy, and I've never said anything publicly about it, but I don't have facts that shit's all true. I'm an astrologer that I can tell you astrologically the story that, having the biggest conjunction in Capricorn that we've ever seen since the 1280s, and I don't know if they were doing that back then, they might have been, that we haven't seen it till now, and it's all being exposed, and the whole story is that Kronos does eat his own children? That's the whole part of the mother, and we are in this area of Cancer, and this is where the comet's at, and this is where, Mercury went retrograde, and this is where the double new moons are. So you have to realize that this is truly about, in humanity right now, there's people who have a motherly nature and a caring nature, and then there's some out there that really don't give a fuck at all and have lost their minds completely based off control, based off time, and that chronology of living their life in control is based off time. I made a post today that with Neptune here, it's exactly where we were at during the witch trials in the 1600s, in 1692. Neptune retrograde, 20 to 19 degrees. Like, I put that post out today because whether it was the religious institutions that were against things that they didn't understand and putting these women on trial for doing things that they didn't understand when they were probably just, doing a little new moon ceremony. You know what I mean? That they put them on trial. And today's trial, and I'm going to say this from an astrological point of view, is this is the science community now. And I'm not trying to say to deny science, and I'm not saying that the whole science community as a whole is not true. But there are elite science energies right now, especially for the fact that Saturn went into Aquarius. And we're going to see Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius on December 21st of 2020, that this is going to be, is it real science? Does it have the base of alchemy where it comes from, or did it let go of it completely? And it's like trying to prove a point. And all this is still hypothesis of the data that's all out there about the world and just about life. Like, you have to be your own, personal, whether that's astrologer, scientist, and do things that make common sense and do things that make logical sense. I'm not telling you to go against what the science community says, but I'm telling you to have an open eye right now, to make sure that the information and what you're getting right now that you make up within yourself. But you also have to remember we're in Capricorn time, so there are rules and there are things that we have to follow, no matter how much we want to go against them and we want to fight against them and all that. That's going to be a big struggle with Mars by itself and only with Chiron, who's, let's be honest, who's limping, like, okay, I'm here to help, but I'm holding a liver and I'm holding all this other stuff, like, this isn't going to be as easy to go fight it when it will be at the end of this year. So it's about how do you place yourself right now in the best place that you can for your life so you can get through this next, well, let's say 5 months here until we're going to see some sort of break in the energy to where we can go, what's all about? But this is also going to take that science aspect and that science energy and try and explode it out Remember that the last Jupiter-Saturn was in Taurus at 22 degrees in 2000 itself, 2000, and we are ending that cycle here at the end of 2020. And that was about money, and look at Wall Street. It's peaking out. Jupiter and Saturn are finishing the cycle. It's a peak out. So the science community is going to go have their little, like, you know, oh my God, we like, you know, like we were always right or something. But does it have its base? Is it really for the people, or is it the same way that a pope and cardinals and stuff of institutions work? Because this is all bringing up that witch trial stuff. This is all bringing up really deep-seated, whether you want to call it secrets, it's Pluto and Jupiter, it's Pluto and Saturn. There's hidden societies. And whether Eisenhower used the military-industrial complex, he also called out the science community and being very careful about how that was going to go down. That they're interconnected as well. And I think that it's very important for people right now to pay attention to that you are a human being and you have tribe that you know are around you, and you have to pay attention to still being common sense and still following the laws and the orders of the world, but you in your personal life have your personal life. And this is going to be a big opposition for this new moon in Cancer, the second one after a solar eclipse that was just in Cancer just a month ago, on the solstice, on the exact time of the sun coming to its peak in the northern hemisphere or down south. And it was at its worst, right, the lowest. That this is a moment for us to realize that we are about to go against Saturn. We have to confront laws. We have to confront control freaks. We have to confront hypothesis, energy, that, at least as an astrologer, I have a base of thousands of years that doesn't let go of the original aspects to it. Science doesn't know what the fuck they're doing because they change it so much. They throw hypotheses of what's next and what's going to happen next and how it should look and all this shit, and they disguise it as, well, look at the data, and then they just show you a little graph and they don't show you all the data. Astrology gives you all the data of everything going on in the universe. Here we go, here, look at this here, look at this here. Here's just one little piece, and that's all you get. Which is very sad. Like one focal point, and with Jupiter and Pluto, it's obsession. It's obsession on its biggest grandiose scale for control. It's grandiose obsession about trying to have people form and go based upon rules and order in certain directions. And this is the time that this is the sun in Cancer in your personal life that has to actually deal with it. And that's why I've been telling people to prepare for. I mean, everybody's been putting, go follow me on Instagram. Everybody said Leo King called it the end of June, you know, that was it. And then coming in July, it was going to be blam, with more lockdowns and with all that stuff. And even if you watch the Deep Astrology I did like 3 weeks ago, I said Texas was going to be one of the worst spots. It's going to be hit. I show it all. So I just think that it's important for people right now to take this all in. And especially right now what I'm about to show you. Because what I'm about to show you, I just spent extra time on. And this is why I would definitely be a member of High Vibe, so you can actually physically see this stuff. But we're going to go to audio for you if you're on YouTube right now. And for those that are watching here on High Vibe right now, love you all very much. And I do love you still all out there in YouTube world. That's why I do give you this beginning of the show. And I will always give it to you in some sort of audio podcast format. But I'd love for you to see what we're going to all see. Can somebody turn off my alarm in the lounge? Or maybe, I don't know what that noise, there's some noise again. Thank you. So, I know it's a lot, there's a lot that we're going to cover today, and I'm going to run through the charts because I talked a lot about them, but I'm going to show you some other charts that you've probably never seen before. Some people might have that do a lot of this work, but we're going to go give you all the bit of information that we can, and that's the thing about Jupiter-Pluto. Like, it's either you get everything or you get nothing, and you know what we get from the media right now? Nothing. Sorry to tell you. I'm just going to be honest with you. Here's a little bite, and blow it up out of proportion, and don't give you anything else. Like, what? Why aren't they sitting down with people? It's like, here's 2 minutes with this person and their opinion about the situation of somebody else's data. How come nobody's showing up that's doing the data themselves? Have you ever noticed that? Like, why aren't we seeing like all the people? Like, I would think at Johns Hopkins University, I'm just coming out with some truth here. Is there a parking lot full of people there? And how many people are getting the data and how many people are doing it? And I know that there was an article today saying that now all the data from the CDC, or all the data from, I guess, the hospitals have to go to the Trump administration now. Some people might look at that as, we don't know though. That's the thing, we can't assume anything. It could be bad, it could be good, we don't know. But there's obviously a lot going on behind the scenes right now that we all don't know. That's the point. I'm not trying to prove that anybody's bad or anybody's right or anybody's right. I'm just letting you all know that we are all in the not know on purpose about something way bigger than we all realize. And we all have to prepare for the understanding and the emotional preparedness for this shit. That's what I'm trying to prepare you all for. Is the explosion of information that's about to come out over this next week is going to blow all your minds. Like literally. From what I'm about to show you in the astrology charts. So if you're on High Vibe, thank you so much, of course. And if you want to see these charts, make sure that you remember High Vibe 7-day free trial. And it's really cheap, super cheap. So, especially if you get the 6-month plan, I think it's like $6 a month total. So, I mean, I make it super cheap, and you're getting not only me and all my exclusive horoscopes, but you're getting everybody else in the app, and I'll do all the other special shows. So here we go. Let's take a look. We're going to run through a lot because there's a lot going on here. So we're on Wednesday, July 15th here. And this is it, right? The sun just finished its opposition point to that Jupiter-Pluto. So that's what I'm saying is there's definitely something big, hidden, undercover that is in the powers of control that the personal life of the people are not able to see. So, we all are questioning things, whether you want to say you don't question things at all in your life, you'd be questioning it. You just had a Mercury retrograde that just came out of retrograde, and it's in your Cancer house, so you're questioning just, am I okay? Is this thing going to be okay? Is the future going to be okay? Jupiter's future. Pluto is getting deeper to it all and trying to uncover it all. And that's a lot. We also have this moon that's finishing up in Taurus that was with Uranus, and you have to remember that it's been in great aspects, right? This moon has been trined over to Jupiter, Pluto. This moon has been trined over to Saturn in Capricorn. And so there's been a part of ourselves that's like, I want to feel my physical life a lot better. But, there is that whole aspect, even though it's a trine, it's dealing with Capricorn. So it's like, okay, if you're frustrated about the way that the world looks, because it's South Node in Sag, right? Okay, so the world looks weird. Just focus on your own environment, and even if, like, I live in California, they just locked us down again, okay? So, but I'm still fucking here, I'm still having a fucking good time, I'm laughing, I'm having, there's still life. There's still life. I'm doing the things that make me curious and excited and happy. I'm not focused on, oh my God, I can't go to the EU right now. The last place I'd want to go is right now on a big, long travel place and just sit there and be in this world and go walk through some Disney World like with a mask on. That sounds like the worst part of that sounds like hell. So I think that we all need to realize that this is a moment for us to realize that there is something deeply in the cover that we don't know. Even, it doesn't matter if you're left or right. I got to make this shit clear. Because it's like, there's just something that we all are being not told. Okay? People know the info that we don't know. And people are also investigating more info to get more information. And that's what this just triggered. And you're doing that about your own personal life. Just about, well, what the hell's next? And what do I want to do next? And where am I going? Am I going to stay in this? Am I going to not stay in this? Is this going to be the direction? It's like everybody is at the helm of their ship right now. Like, okay, well, the waters are changing, and I don't know. Should I go left? Should I go right? And am I going to end up in cold Alaska? Am I going to end up in warm Hawaii? I don't know. It's like, well, make the choice. It's like, okay, I'm going to go to Hawaii. Okay, you like suntan, or I don't like it. I want SPF 90 million. It's like, okay, go to Alaska. It's like don't get all frantic like I do, but like this will be like, okay, like I like the heat, I'm going this way. I like the cold, I'm going that way. And there's no right or wrong in that. But this Mars and Chiron was very difficult because Mars is in its home sign and Chiron's there, and Mars is like, what the heck? I got the warrior that's the most wounded warrior, although we can look at this as a more positive way, is that Chiron is the centaur that was gifted and granted the whole constellation of the centaurs. So Chiron does rule all the centaurs, okay? Even really, like if you really think about like Chiron like as a centaur, and Sag is a centaur. And we have South Node and Sag, right? There's a wounding going on about our perspectives, our travel, our big things that we want to see in our life, our benefic energies and how big we wanted to see. We got so used to Jupiter, Pluto, and Sag. That was from 2007, December, and ended through this Jupiter-Pluto cycle now in Capricorn this year. So you had this big, grandiose world, and that's come to a close because the grandiose energy is in the ultimate path of where you're turning the ship in your life and where we all as a collective are going to turn this ship. But there's too much disinformation and unknown territory for us to actually start to think that we know exactly where as a collective where to turn this ship. We'd be dumb as a collective, we'd be ignorant as a collective to think that we should turn it right now and this is the direction to go. With all these hypotheses out there, with all these beliefs, with all these contradictions, without getting all the info. There's not enough info. North Node wants that, and that's what Saturn and what Saturn's doing is it's quincunxing that North Node, right, at 2828. So this is a very hard thing because there's more information that's needed before there's a choice, and Saturn's still in retrograde. But when it comes to your personal life, it's like, why is the universe asking for us to make these choices now? Maybe it's more about just your personal life choices and not so much the whole world choices in the collective, because maybe if everybody made good personal choices in their life about being happy and fulfilling themselves, maybe that would turn the corner of life itself. If you thought about it, a bunch of unhappy, scared people on a fucking ship reminds me of being in War of the Worlds when they're all freaking hanging out on the boat and then they're like, oh God, the aliens are showing up and everybody's freaking out and there's just aliens just everywhere. It's just like, that's not, when the captain of that boat too sees one come out of the water, he's like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, you don't start turning the ship collectively right now until everybody on the boat's chill and the captain's chill and everybody's like, yeah, okay, like, where are we going today? It's like, you know, because when I go on a cruise in Newport Harbor, my whole life I've grown up in Newport Beach, it's like, you know, it's like, let's take this route, you know what I mean? And look at how beautiful it is. Turn the radio up. That's Cancer's favorite thing to do in life, is just sit back on the patio with the family, lemonade. A lot of them like all those new, like, I don't know. I'm 5 years sober, July 20th of alcohol, but I see that everybody's drinking like these like wine seltzer things and all that stuff. Cancers love that shit. They love that shit. They're like, oh my God, you made me alcohol. It tastes good and it almost good. It looks like a soda, but it's not. And oh my God, they love that shit. But until we're all as a collective in that kind of energy where we can sit back, we've got enough info, we know there's something hidden. Some people might just say, well, that's just the pandemic that's hidden, and it's a hidden virus, and it could attack you. Okay, that is true. But there's something hidden behind that. I've been saying that for 3 years, and I'm telling you that the eye of the storm just looked at it, and interesting stories came out. A Hong Kong scientist is down in America hiding herself and dealing with the FBI and giving all the rat on China. Obviously, something's weird about the change of information going to the Trump administration. There's a lot of things, and I'm not saying I know what it all means. I'm just telling you all that we don't know. We're not in the know. It's South Node Sag. We need to get information, and we need to demand. I'm going to ask everybody, we all need to demand from our media sources when it comes to this stuff. We need more info. Because why is nobody demanding that? Everybody's just accepting it. Like, give me, everybody always shows, especially in this whole pandemic thing, like, okay, they allow McDonald's to be open, but they don't allow this and all that, so they're just dishing. It's like, yeah, they're dishing you McDonald's all fucking day. Here's your Happy Meal, but it's like terrifying. You open it up and it's a fucking creepy fucking crawler, like fucking, like, okay, I'm closing it, you know? So it's nuts that we don't get all the information. We need more information. I don't know why people are not demanding more information of like what the hell's going on, and let's see more about it instead of just a little bar graph that says, okay, that's what it is, and here you go. You know what? I was in senior math. I didn't pass Algebra 1, yet I'm an astrologer and I do geometry. It's funny. But it's so funny because it's senior math, and I'll be real, the teacher was an ex-Playboy model. We found that out. But and then she used to tell us, it's senior math. Senior math was like, go find a bar graph in a newspaper and talk about it to the class. And I was 17 years old, about to graduate. That's what you're getting on television, and you're having people that are not scientists or not even people that are putting the info together that are telling you the graph. Are we really going to buy the world that we're in right now? Are you going to ever feel comfortable with not knowing what the hell's going on? Let's take a look at this Thursday, because this is where things shift a lot. Is this moon comes into Gemini, and it starts to get ready for its balsamic phase, right, which is 30 degrees away. But it's going to meet up with Venus first, which actually is not 30 degrees away. And so this is an interesting moment because we do have these Sussy square aspects here to this huge, huge stellium here in Capricorn. And so with the moon and Venus here and with the sun being still in Cancer, 24 degrees, it's coming off of Pluto. You know, Thursday is all about us emotionally starting to question the good things in life that we want to have, the relationship aspects, our money situations, and where all this stuff is going in our lives, because we have to figure it out. Mars is at 10 degrees and going to 11, so it's almost sextile, but Venus is gaining speed again, like I showed you last week. So Venus here is now at plus 37 minutes a day, and Mars is at 32 minutes. So that means we will not see an exact sextile of Mars and Venus because Venus is gaining more speed. So Mars and Venus, though, in sextile are like, we need to just take action and have courage to go for the curious things that make us feel good in our life. And we have to take action about the things that we don't want in our lives either. You know, being Mars and Aries is like, this is what I want and this is what I don't want. It's very clear. It's not like, I kind of want this and I kind of want that. No, that's Mars and Libra. Mars and Aries is the home of Mars. And it's like, I am doing this. And with Venus there in Gemini, sure, it might have a lot of ideas, but at least it's excited and it's curious. It's like, well, if I'm going to Disneyland, let's say, it's like, I want to go on that ride, that ride, that ride, that. I want to go to that area, that. I don't want to go to that area. That, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of that, but it's better than being in the whole, I don't know. If you're playing the I don't know, or I just know it'll go some direction, and, you know, having that whole sad thing of like, I'm just down for the journey wherever it goes. Sorry to tell you, that's the caboose of the train. Okay, you don't care where you go? Last seat in the very back, you know what I mean? Like, well, actually, we don't have a seat. You can sit and look at the caboose, and you can sit in the back, and you can sit on, we got some railings down there, and you can sit on there. We got no seatbelts, but, you know, like, have a good time. Oh, and it's raining, you know what I mean? What? Oh, well, you didn't tell me that exactly what you wanted, so that's where I put you. That's the universe right now. Like, oh, you don't know what you want? You know, oh, you're just going to keep going with the show? You got to direct yourself right now. You got to be a director of your personal life, like I said. And so I think that this moon Venus is going to be a big deal because it's going to actually help people go, you know what? I need to emotionally know and embody, especially with the sun being in Cancer and we're in between two new moons in Cancer and it's about to happen. It's a powerful moment for you to really look at this really material world, this relationship world, this physical world of your money, your projects, and make adjustments and changes with Mars there to be like, I gotcha, let's do this. That courage, that redefining, this fresh new start, this fresh new energy. And if it's not fresh, if it's stale, if it's old and it smells like fucking urine, get the hell out. Like, don't do it. Find solutions. But if there's no solutions and you're just in like hopeful world, you're gonna suffer. I'm gonna hope for better. It's like, no, you're gonna get better or not. Like, you do that or not. This is a very action-oriented time. And so I think that that's going to be what Thursday's about. When we get to Friday, we do get to this interesting spot now where we do see, I just want to show you what it's like in the morning. Because that's where you're going to see the moon and Venus in the morning rising. That's Venus as the morning star. And you'll see Mars at the top of the chart. So wherever you live, especially if you're in the northern hemisphere, if you're in the southern hemisphere, remember you're going down every day. You're less light. So I just want to say that like it might be for you a little bit different timing. Whatever your sunrise is, maybe it's more 6 a.m. But I just want to say that Mars at the top of the chart and Jupiter and Saturn setting, and you'll actually see it more close to this 3:41 a.m. So that's why I said 5 a.m.-ish. You'll see Jupiter and Saturn in the 7th house technically, which Jupiter's much more happy to be there, even though it's in its fall, but Saturn's in a dignified position of being Capricorn, and it's an exalted house. Mars is in its exalted house, and it's in its dignified house, and Venus is in Gemini, but it's in the 12th house, and there is something about Venus in the 12th that Venus in Pisces, right, is the exalted place for Venus. So some people think Venus in the 12th is bad. It's not. It's the morning star. So there's a beautiful, or it can be the evening star like I have, but I'm just going to say there's this beauty of it. And you can see Aldebaran right next to it. And actually, this is like the area in which you will see the comet. And I'll go into that stuff in a little bit. But this is why I'm saying that there's this prime time in your life to change things. Ironically enough, though, it happens at night. When you get into that day, it almost feels like the day just goes by and nothing gets done because of the fact that all the planets then move to the bottom of the chart. And none of these planets want to be at the bottom. Saturn doesn't want to be at the bottom. Mars especially doesn't want to be at the bottom. Jupiter's like, well, I like the bottom, but he's in his worst house. So he's like, well, I can't really do much. He can't promise anything. And Uranus doesn't like to be down there at the bottom either. And Uranus is the one that wants to be up high up in the heavens, right? So why do you think that there's like these little periods in life where the biggest transformational moments, you might be waking up at 5 in the morning, you might be waking up at 3 to 4 a.m., 5 a.m. Stop getting hard on yourself about like, oh, I can't. And then I go through the day. And you know what? This is the prime moment. If you were a master back in the day, and I had to tell this to somebody yesterday, I was like, if I was Nostradamus and Queen Catherine was like, hey, tell me when to do this, I'd be like, oh, about like 5 a.m. And it's like, what? I was like, yeah, 5 a.m. And Queen Catherine probably would have done that shit. And Neptune in its home sign, of course, at the top. But, you know, if it was, that's the only weird place. And that's where I'm trying to show you guys, and I'm going to show you all as we move through to get to this new moon. It's pretty crazy because the moon goes dark on Saturday, and this dark moon is going to be with the North Node. And with Mercury at 7 now, it's come off for 5 degrees, starting to get speed. It's starting to get ready for that square to Chiron there. And so I would say that there's a lot of frantic energy that's going to be Saturday, Sunday, into Monday. Especially frantic on Friday there for some reason, and Saturday for some reason, because of the fact that the moon's going to be with the North Node Rahu, and Moon Rahu is very difficult. You can get delusion, you can get anxiety, especially in Gemini. Because it's almost like this forceful Rahu energy that's like, hey, I want you to feel like good. It's like, well, I'm trying to figure it out. It's like, I need it now, I need it now, I need the feeling now. And if you didn't do this work, and that's what this new moon's about, so there's a little bit of this weird thing, like, okay, it's almost like an incentive to change your life that's going down this week. And I know that may be creepy to people, but if they're like, oh yeah, this weekend, what are you doing? Like, like this shit's gonna be incentive to change your life weekend. So I would plan your weekend accordingly. Especially for the fact that that moon's gonna be dark in Gemini with the North Node. And then that moon's gonna be dark with Mercury before it reaches the sun. And if we actually take a look at this, the moon does make a quincunx to Saturn. So the moon's getting affected by Saturn a lot. Not only in a sessi square or a sessi quadrant aspect with Venus aspects, but it's getting it then with a quincunx to Saturn, and then it's getting a new moon in opposition to Saturn. So emotionally speaking, like it's like time to figure shit out. Time to figure shit out. Don't worry about the world. We know there's some hidden shit that we don't know, but you gotta get your own place like fully good now. Like there's no more excuses. Saturn doesn't take excuses. There's no excuse. You just have to do it. You know what I mean? It's just like you gotta do it. And so when we come to this Sunday, before this new moon on Monday, the reason why I think that this is frantic is that moon with Mercury is going to be in square to Mars and Chiron. Okay? So that's why I'm saying even Saturday night, oh my gosh. And then that moon's getting ready to oppose Jupiter, Pluto, and then come into a new moon, and then oppose Saturn. And it's squaring off, so we're getting massive T-squares going down, and that's a lot of pressure. Venus moves to 14 degrees as well, so see, if we actually see here, Mars at 12, see how Venus is gaining speed, and let's look at that speed of Venus. Venus is now at 40 minutes a day, 31 minutes. Look at Mars slow down. This week, Mars is slowing down, and Venus is speeding up. So you need to fit your relationship stuff, your money stuff, you need to figure this stuff out. And Mars, your ego of how you think it all should go, that courage is getting slower and slower every day. So you better figure it out, because if you don't figure it out with the strength of the courage right now, when Mars goes really slow and has to be stopped and square all this crap, I'm just trying to tell you, like, you can't put shit off. This is why this is such a crazy week. It's about change and portal energy, and it's in its extreme form. So let's go to that new moon. That new moon is going to be happening on the 20th at 10:32 a.m. Pacific, 28 degrees and 26 minutes. It's exact opposition to Saturn at 28 degrees and 39 minutes. This is you having to face the music. Whether you want to look at this as the government, the laws, your own choices in your life, about your personal life, about growing up, the things that you need to do. The moon's in opposed position to Saturn. That's not an easy transit. The sun. And the moon's enemy is Saturn, because Cancer and Leo sit on the top of the throne, the sun and the moon, and Capricorn and Aquarius are Saturn, both that oppose the king and the queen. So the king and the queen are not happy because they have to go and deal with the enemy at the bottom. And it's not easy, because this is, in many ways though, if we take it from a more positive point of view, this is an activation portal of the whole entire understanding of the planetary rulerships of hierarchy system of planetary systems, that they are fully activated. And this is one aspect that I would just say you don't see. Like, you just don't see this, okay? Unless a new moon in Leo, but then the moon's not in its home sign. There's something about the moon being here in its home sign opposed Saturn in its home sign. The Cancer, Capricorn deal with those two. And it's emotional time, and the moon is, and at least the sun's there the king's there to help it out. But I'm just here to tell you that the quincunx to the south node here, which is the delusion to this, is when you emotionally are going into doorways that no information keeps coming, you keep believing in things that the info doesn't show enough. And more importantly, you keep expecting some magical thing to just show up in your life to change it. We're going to have to go just a little bit over on the time. Where are we at on time right now? Thank you. So this is not an easy new moon, because if you remember, it's going to last a month, and we just came out of an 8-week energy of being in eclipses, 3 eclipses, and now we come into a new moon opposed Saturn, south node quincunx. Let's add to the table a lot of other things that are kind of off here and a little bit weird. Mercury square Chiron. You know, communicating, understanding the emotional part of this is difficult too, because it's a surrender moment. Chiron and Aries, like, okay, like, doesn't look exactly the way I want to, but I have the courage to at least move into things to make my life emotional. It's almost like, I don't know, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, you know, a lot of people talk about privilege in today's culture. Like, this is our human privilege of how we have created a whole entire identification of privilege, of our identity of how we want things to look in every corner of life. That, I don't know why my guides, I'm just going to say what my guides say. It's like, I'm bringing up another stupid Disneyland thing, but it's like, the tram that takes you back to your parking lot. It's like, I want to take that tram. It's like, oh, well, this one's the older tram, but you're here, and here you go. It's like, at least you aren't your legs tired? Aren't you hungry? Don't you have a little bit of snacks in there? And you want to take a load off your foot? It's like, but I want the nice new tram. It's like, well, I'm getting you to where you need to go emotionally. And you're getting to the destination that you want, just might not look exactly the way you want to. Not saying that's going to be ugly, not saying it's going to be gross, not saying anything. I'm just saying that it's like, maybe your whole identity that was so wrapped up of like, well, I'm with my best friends and I wanted to show them the new tram and all this shit. And it's like, oh, but that tram isn't showing up the way that it looks, but a tram is showing up. It's like, oh, okay, like, get on this tram. It's like a 4-minute ride and then you get back to the parking lot and like, what's the difference? That this is fucked up mental shit emotionally about identification that's all fucked up, of how you emotionally identify with things incorrectly that are blocking you emotionally because you're so fanatical and obsessed with having it a different way and obsessed with your ego's identity of time and how it's got to be exactly looking like this at this moment in your life. That is a hard spiritual lesson to undo, to unravel in yourself on this new moon. Especially with Venus at 15 degrees here, because now it's back to halfway through the Gemini. And really, if we take a stab at this, right, that is a 45-degree angle from this new moon to Venus. That is called a semi-square. So people want to feel the relationship stuff, the money stuff, the values, and it's going to take every emotional bone in your body to learn to take some sort of big new choice and some risk and work and step into it in order to get it. It's not going to just be like figured out by some facts that you have. You're going to have to actually make it your reality and do something about it and make it physical and actually do it. You just can't emotionally just be like, mom's going to pick me up fucking and just put me exactly where I need to be. It's like, nope, not going to happen. Like, you got to like get up yourself and get out of the crib and like fucking crawl out and like, okay, like adjust your diaper here. Grab those little fucking wet naps and walk over to where you need to walk. But people today are so fragile. So this is not a good time for fragile energy and fragile people. I just said that. Now let's look at that Helio for this new moon. This is what I wanted to show you. Remember, the sun's at the center of the chart of Helio, and here is Earth on Saturn. Okay, so from the sun's point of view, Earth and Saturn, right, in opposition. It's actually technically ironic that if you actually 3D'd this and you understood it, that from where Earth is, Saturn is on the other side, right? Like, because we are looking at Earth, the sun is behind, and we look at Saturn at night, and we can see Saturn that's out in front. So Saturn, we're looking at Saturn at night, like dead on, like there it is, and the sun's giving us the light to see Saturn. And I can show you guys in a chart, but Saturn's not on the other side of us like we think. Like, we're looking at Saturn, right? Conjunction point would be if Saturn was on the other side, which is when we're in Capricorn. It means we're on the other side of the sun and we're opposing Saturn even though we're conjunct. People have to realize how astrology and all this stuff works. So we're actually closer to Saturn, that's why we can see it, than farther away when we don't see it. We have Mars and Venus exactly conjunct at 27 degrees. And one of the things that I learned from Michael Erlewine back in 2011 when I was practicing and learning this Helio astrology, and one of the things that he did was he came up with 4 different types of people based upon the conjunctions or the way that the chart is set up of your Helio chart. So there's the independent, there's the multi-relational, and then there's the lover, and then there's the loved one. But one thing he told me, because I'm multi-relational, because all my planets are within 180 degrees of the zodiac. So I have 180 degrees of the zodiac empty, and I have a lot of conjunctions. That, especially in Helio, to see conjunctions is very rare, because there's no retrogrades. So they're just flying their normal speeds, right? And so with Mars and Venus conjunct, and with Venus being such a big counterpart that is hidden for most astrologers. You're not, and if this comes out on some sort of meme, you know where it really came from, okay? That this Venus in semi-square to this new moon in Cancer is forcing you to take a radical new path about your relationship life and the identity that you want about things, and learn to disconnect from situations, relationships, and a lot of Aquarius forces us to disconnect from things and only connect to what is really going to take us to the future that we want in our lives. That's the deepness of this new moon, especially with Saturn and the Earth and the moon in the same spot, right? In this chart. But the way that you understand that this is a time where we have to confront, and we are close to Saturn, and Saturn's like, yo, like, are you ready to step the game up here? Earth, are you ready to step up the game in yourself? Or are you just going to completely play a victim? Are you going to completely play a helpless person when you are not? Are you going to let the circumstances of the world? Well, let's think of the circumstances of the universe. Look, it's wild out there. You think it's wild down here? It's wild out there, okay, in nature. It's way more wild. You are in a controlled, easy environment with air conditioning or I guess I'm privileged because there's air conditioning, not out here, but in the office. That, this is the baby parts of ourselves that are blocking out the emotional stuff. It's like a little baby that goes, oh my God, like, that's the wrong diaper, Mom. I'm not going to poop in those. It's like, really? Really? No, you're going to, you know what Saturn is saying in this new moon? No, you're going to poop in those freaking diapers, you know what I mean? Like, okay. Because it's like, this is where the ego is so obsessed, and with Jupiter, Pluto, this control of keeping yourself safe that's blocking all the things you really want in your life. Which all you really want to do is just poop in those diapers, but you're too afraid to try that diaper? And so, and what's ironic too is, look at this. I forgot to bring this up, that Jupiter and Pluto, Jupiter is about to finally conjunct Pluto here. We are so close, 22, 23. And so you have to remember that, sure, you've seen 2 Jupiter-Pluto conjunctions in Geo, okay? The third one is coming here in November at the end of the year. But the Helio is about to actually be, Jupiter is about to pass Pluto. So we are at the brink point of the big reveal, the big holy shit moment of this year. We have not seen it yet. And if you think that this year was the holy shit moment, like, that was the lobby. That was the lobby. That was the lobby. So what I'm going to do right now is just finish out Tuesday so I can show you guys these cool charts, and we'll end this. That the last day of Cancer, after this new moon, this new moon, you got to set intentions for what you really want and what choices that you're ready to step into and what power that you find within yourself, and step into it. Saturn, remember, is still quincunx here, this north node. We got Mercury exactly square Chiron. So, we come out of this new moon and we got the moon in Leo, square Uranus. And you know what? Yeah, maybe we do, in order to find betterment in life and happiness, is we need to change things up completely and try things that we're afraid to try. Go into places we've never tried before. Because doing the same shit every fucking day is insane. And doing the same thing over and over again is even more insane. And so this sun at the 29th degree of Cancer is like, okay, all right, I'm emotionally going to get my life figured out and have the life that I want if I'm willing to have passed this rite of passage. Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn in Capricorn in opposition with new moon and the second new moon. That means that the universe wants us to figure out our personal life for 2 cycles of the new moon cycles. And that's rare. We haven't seen that since 2009. That was with the South Node. So it's almost like, it was Capricorn times then. It was like, get the world back straight after the recession. But everybody's personal life was being taken care of the same way. There was an extension in unemployment in 2009. There's all that kind of stuff. But I'm here to tell you that I don't think that you're going to see the same extensions that everybody thinks that they're going to see. And I've been making that prediction forever, that they are not going to, especially I heard today, Congress actually is pissed at the whole stimulus thing and what happened because everybody doesn't want to work now because they're making more money on unemployment. They actually admitted it. They said, we're not going to just start doing that. This is Capricorn. So if you are going to rely on that, I'm just here to tell you as an astrologer, you'll be fucked. And you better start figuring it out now. They even came out with a program with, I think, Ivanka Trump. Ivana Trump came out, or yeah, it was Ivanka. She's just like, try a new job. I forgot what the hashtag was. Because that's what Congress, including Democrats, including Republicans, are all saying, like, uh-oh, we gave too much money and people are not going to work. So, this is one of those moments where if you're going to come to the last day of Cancer and be like, I'm okay, and especially with this South Node and Sag, like, it'll all work out. I'm not going to make change. I'm not going to step forward. I'm not going to prove to Saturn that I'm going to put the work in my life to get my personal life the way I want to. I'm not going to make big choices. I'm not going to grow up. I'm not going to fulfill my emotional needs, my relationship needs, my money needs, my all these needs, my willing to show up. If you're not willing to show up, I'm going to be honest with you, this is going to blow your lid. The last degrees of Cancer are very depressing, and I got to be very honest with you, of all water signs, the last 3 degrees, 27, 28, 29, and they're very difficult, and that's where the new moon and the dark moon is going to happen. So that's why I'm saying, that's why I included Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. But on Tuesday, if you're looking for relief and it was hell and you still haven't changed, it almost will just at that point be like a sinking moment for you of your own ship that you're going to want to quit because you're not willing to step up. And that's your own issue in your own soul. Especially that Mercury square Chiron. I'm a victim, and the government ain't going to give me this, and they're not going to give me that, and this person did this to me, and I'm wounded from the past, and because especially Cancer rules the past of your emotional life. So what I'm about to show you here is some Mayan stuff, all right? So here's actually today, and I'll do it this way. Here we go. All right. So here's the 15th. That's where we're at today. Here's a 10-day kin portal, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the 10th day, which is on July 22nd. Now, why is this a big deal? Well, if I were to show you all, like if we were to go through all this, show me some of those 10-day portals. I feel like I'm playing Wheel of Fortune. Here's one. Last one we had was, oh, look at this. During the 12-12 time. Okay? So why are these significant times? Because if you actually look at this, galactic activation portal days, there are 52 green cells in the harmonic module, okay? It's like helping to activate our DNA's full potential by linking both the macro and the microcosmos. A portal means a gateway, an entrance to other dimensional frequencies, representing days when the energies are felt with more intensity and our awareness is amplified. If you are connected with life on a soul level, these days present great opportunities to consciously accelerate your awakening journey by gaining a better understanding of cosmic wisdom. And if you are living caught in the illusions created by the ego, or the illusions of somebody else's ego that is projecting onto you through the fucking media. Sorry. That these days can also be felt as turbulent and chaotic. And that's just one day. Let me show you. The blue castle is referred to as the castle of burning, as it allows a deeper transformation to occur. It is known for its intensity since it contains the 2 galactic activation portal columns of 10 intense consecutive gap days. These green days are called gap days. 10 in a row. And the mystic column in the middle. So if you look at this, it looks like DNA strand when you get into the different charts of the Mayan calendar. It's pretty crazy. But it's like DNA, but we are actually, and I actually can draw on this one, right here. Okay. And then down here is this mystic line, okay? So we're, today, as we're talking right here, and you have all this week that is that heightened, intense portal energy, which it's like on 24/7. Everything is more intense, everything is more connected, awareness is amplified. Understanding cosmic wisdom, or are you living in a turbulent and chaotic life? That is going to be your knowing. this time. When a chaotic situation comes up, you better fucking be aware of what do I got to do to change this shit. And if you're looking at the world as chaotic right now, then you ain't tapped into the universe at all. I'm sorry to say. That if you don't know how to find peace in this world right now, and you don't know how to like see the bigger picture of all the bullshit that's going on and see through it all, this is how I am dropping these bombs tonight on you all to prove you that science is a bunch of baloney that has lost its alchemy and that is not considering anything from the ancients, anything on all these systems I am showing. I'm having to bust out Mayan, Helio, Geo, and for God's sake, if I really want to do it, but I will do it, I'll bust out even old school cards of truth for you, show you it's an 8 of clubs new moon that's going to oppose Saturn, okay? 8 of clubs is like, if we want to use it, we can use it in a lot of different ways. But it is about making choices about the betterment and happiness in your life, especially when the arrows of love, the 8 of wands, if you want to use the wands part of it, is about moving into the life that you truly, that is positive, that is there. But if you believe in the chaos right now that your life cannot move into a new direction, you're fucking stupid. Because you have believed in the chaos everywhere that is through a projection element. Especially if I take a look at the way that this is set up, Saturn is the ace of diamonds in this position. That's a very, 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 very important and very powerful card of realizing like that you have a reality that you have to reset and go into a better position that you can create. But it's almost told you that that's impossible. And if we really want to be even more looking at this from other angles, the moon's there at that 4 of spades. It's like, chill out a little bit. But at the same time, like, you can figure this stuff out emotionally. Like, and with the sun card being at the 6 of diamonds, oh yeah, 6 of pentacles, that's moving the ship to new waters. That you got to leave the waters that are chaotic that you don't want to go towards. The arrows of love are pointing in the direction that you want to go to in your life. And the last thing I'm going to show you is that when we take a look at this new moon, so see, here's the Earth. See that? I'll give you a little undercarriage. That's how Pluto and Scorpio looks at you. Unfortunately, I'm unable to show the comment. It's not updated in this system, and I tried. But when this is looking, when you look out, right, where is the real aspect of Saturn? There it is. Earth with Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn, and the moon. So what I'm saying is that when you look out at night, this is what you're looking out at, okay? And that's why I'm saying at nighttime is a better time at night, because you can see the planets. You can see Mars as we are coming up closer for the retrograde that's coming, and the exact craziness of October when we are going to be the closest to Mars with, look at that energy of like right there is insane. And then when we come into that new moon, that's going to be squaring a bunch of stuff October 16th. But as I bring you back here, this is where you don't have a lot of, like, I know I say this a lot, like you don't have a lot of time, but it's like in sections, right? Like when it comes to your personal life now, like this is where you do it. I mean, we're already here at July, what is today, 15th, timelessness? This week, during this galactic portal thing, there is, and I wish I could show the thing, and actually if you can just turn it off for 1 second, and I'm going to give Gary credit on this one, and Gemini Brett. They're amazing astrologers. I've met them in person, but Gary P. Caton, so look him up, and here, you can show it now. Gary's been doing a lot of work with Gemini Brett, and they did something about this Comet NEOWISE that's called Comet NEOWISE 2020, and Gemini Brett looks like that he did this amazing ephemeris for us about understanding when we were able to see the eclipse. The eclipse came on that exact line of the day of the solar eclipse at 29 Gemini on the North Node. This is insane, okay? When we look at this week, and if we think about the portal, so here we are on the 15th. Let me do this. Oh, well, I don't have this in my thing, but At the 15th, 21 Cancer. Look at, as we're approaching the 17th, it's going to be close to that sun line, right? And there it is, 2 Leo. That's, I think, when it dips towards the sun at its most. In the position in the zodiac, of course. So it's intense here, the build-up to this new moon. By the 20th, it's at 11 Leo, ironically enough. That's the lawn party. But this is an important marker that the comet is actually looking at ahead of us quicker. Pay attention to where the spot of the new moon is going to be and what comes up in between now until that new moon. And I want to show you how this angle is of it from the ecliptic and where NEOWISE is, right? And it's close to Venus, right? It's up here on the ecliptic northern aspect where here's Uranus and Mercury, right? Where the retrograde was, and it's gone through that. That's where it came in, was with the Mercury in the north node, right? And the sun being on the other side with the moon. That's where it came in. And these guys have done some amazing work here, especially like Gemini Brett took this picture. There's the comet on the eastern horizon. And comets are signals from the universe to wake up. 2011, ironically enough, was Comet Elenin, I think it was, yeah, that came in, and I was like, this is talking about all the changes that are going to happen before 2012, and I think it was during Libra time. And, you know, when comets come in and we can see them and they're visible, Vic Dakar, and I want to give him some credit, has talked about the tails of the comets. There was another comet that came during the whole beginning of this whole CV thing in April and stuff, and then it like broke into parts and it broke away. This thing hasn't broke away. And the tail of the comet looks solid to me. And Vic Dakar did a lot of work showing that there's good fortune with comets, that when the tail is strong and secure, but when it breaks apart and it breaks off, it's bad luck. There's good luck on this comet, but it's in Cancer. It's in Leo, where the king and the queen are. So even though the opposition looks bad of Saturn, even though it looks horrible, we can be done with this stuff here. Even though it all looks bad, it's not. Because at the end of the day, the comet's with the sun, the moon, Mercury, the best friends, Venus. Even though it's not, didn't hit Venus, but Venus is in that zone in there, that you are so much better off than you realize in your life. Do not buy in the chaos. That Mayan portal we're in right now, every day is just as intense as the next day. The astrology might be shifty, but every day is just as potent as to, is it really as chaotic? That means you're in your ego. And you can squash it fast by bringing the peace to it and by having the life you want. And this comet is bringing good fortune. And also when you look at Gary's Facebook, and I showed it there, he had an article that he talked about how this Mercury retrograde brought super mystical and beautiful elements to it. And you need to pay attention to what those are. And I really recommend that you go follow him and Gemini Brett. And I did a great interview with Gemini Brett. It's on my YouTube. Look up the Leo King Gemini Brett. Especially because those two spend a lot of time to show people the stars outside to see how it works. And especially with Gary, I connect with him on that Hermetic alchemy and especially that Hermetic astrology. And I had a great talk with him today about stuff. And I want to support the astrology community and give people other sources that you might not see on YouTube as much. Because these two guys, I know them in person, and they're wonderful, wonderful astrologers, and they have been doing a lot of this work with the comet. They also do a lot of work with all astrology. But I think that it's important to know right now where you're getting your astrology, and don't get caught up right now, especially this week, in meme astrology from these astrology Instagrammers that are stealing shit from people and just putting up these little things because it's distracting. It's not giving you information. Those guys I showed you their shit. And I'm not taking credit for any of that shit. They gave me that information because they put it out. And I will give them the credit for that. There's too much of this going on in the astrology community right now. Nobody giving credit. Nobody given the truth. And so, of where they got it too. So, this is not a time to just think, this is another week. No. This is rare on top of rare on top of rare on top of rare on top of rare. Like everywhere you go, I don't care what you want to use mathematically, physically, any circumstance in your life right now, you do not mess with this week. You do not take every single second of this and go, how can I take the ultimate fortune and make my life beautiful? It's all surrounding you right now. There's nothing to fear except not facing the choices or not facing the courage and the commitment and that honor. I just used the Navy slogan. I stole that from them, see? I'll at least give them credit. Some of the Navy people were like, that's what we had to say all the time, honor, courage, and commitment. I just swapped it. I see, mercurial. But that Saturn's asking for you to step up. You gotta be a big boy, you gotta be a big girl now. You gotta be a big gender neutral, whatever it might be. But you gotta step up and you gotta do it now. Because this is the rarest period here, and there is something big coming. I showed you in the Helio, Jupiter's about to approach Pluto, and we have Mars and Venus conjuncting on this new moon in Helio. And that to me is one of the biggest signals ever of this beautiful moment for us to really start to wonder, can we really redefine our future? If this is about different dimensions, if you really want to get into some of the really deep stuff, especially Dolores Cannon and her splitting of the earth, this would be the beginnings. It's not even the beginnings. This would be an extreme contrast to actually starting to move dimensional shifts. And where are you in chaos or are you in complete cosmic awareness and surrender? No, that was the last thing. I have to finish with this. This is the year change. Sorry. This is just a lot. And that if you go into the kin here, okay. So let's go back to today, normal speed. Here we go. 3D. Okay. So when you run this kin, right, you can move it. You can move it like this. All right. I don't have enough time to teach you guys how to do this, but this is a free app. It's called Kin 3D, all one word, only on iPhone. But look at this. So every day that we keep going by, we have to realize that if we actually go to Oracle here, okay, the year. So if I move this back the 25th, this is the day, it's called the day of, basically it's the day before the new year. It's kind of like the 25th of July is like a purification moment. It's a preparation moment. It's kind of the day where it's like preparation for the new year. We've been in the white magnetic wizard, okay, of timelessness. But you have to remember that when you're in white magnetic, okay, the white family is truth, clarification, unification, timelessness, order from spirit. Spirit is the order of our lives, not time. Not the time that you want things on. It's purifiers, guiders, shines light into darkness, the light of truth. The light of truth is everywhere, and you have to make your choice this week on where you align that truth with. If you're going to do it based off a bunch of people trying to prove something to people in these weird organizations that are playing out just like they did in the 1280s with religious organizations, the science community is becoming religion now. Or are you going to really be part of the spiritual, true light worker, using the ancient codes and the ancient science, and the one that has been proven to predict and not be just hypothesis or just horoscope, but actually divine order that actually makes sense and actually comes together and offers positive solutions and understanding by facing the shadow parts of life, by facing the light parts of life, and understanding both and how to make the proper choices. Because when we move to the 26th next week, I'm sorry to tell you all, but it's going to be a whole new world as we come into the blue lunar storm. And that is transformation, intuition, energy, vision, magic, and healing. Transform and move their worlds, one person at a time or group. Stir things up. It's going to stir things up. And if you thought things were not stirred yet, oh, they're stirred. And it's a lunar storm. Okay? I was born a yellow lunar warrior, so I have this lunar tone. This is 2 dots, okay? Often be confrontational in the eyes of others. That's so me. Knows the delicate balance in the world. I do. Wholeness and separation. I do. And action and consequence. I have a lot of that in my life. And decomplicators. This is going to decomplicate our world. If you understand to be confrontational about things instead of being sheep. And the storm. Catalyzing my energy for self-generation. Friendly, transformer, clarifier, multifaceted, liberator of the mind, reunites, excellent teacher. A calm exterior hides the ever-working mind. Keeper of multifaceted perspectives. You are a teacher, transformer, and clarifier. Share your confidence with us. This is about catalyzing your energy for self-generation into being confrontational in the blue family of transformation, intuition, but also this is purification. In not a spiritual, like timeless kind of way, but the physical, visionary purification. And this is all happening. And this week to next week, the shift into that, the 10-day portal, all the astrology I just showed you with the double new moon. I mean, so I throw it up to you. Batman, Catwoman, whoever your favorite one is, whatever. That you have the choice to hang up that power that you have, hang up that costume, that avatar, and quit. And just go be Bruce Wayne for the rest of your life and just chill out. Or it's really about what are the choices in your life that you're ready to make in your life and not quit and take that power and figure out how you can make both work and that both are essential to this world. That there is another part of you besides just the self that you are that is here with a destiny and here with a purpose. And it's a lot more than just what did everybody else doing? It is your own self-generating energy that's coming. It is your own magnificent power that you created of your uniqueness that is here on the planet, and whether or not you're going to put that freaking suit on or you're going to put it down and quit because you're too scared to do it, you're too scared to step into it, and you're a baby. And that's what this is about. And it's about whether or not you believe the world's chaotic, or if you actually believe that the world is actually the most beautiful place in the world and that you have all the things right now, but what is your blocks? What is your blocks from having that world? What do you complain about in yourself? What do you keep blaming everything in the world on? And that is what has to be erased. I love you all. Please share this video everywhere. HighVibe.tv. We'll see you on the next report.